Good afternoon, good evening.
Good afternoon, good evening. You're
Yeah,
live right now,
well, I
dear.
know, but I said, well, not to you, it was to,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Oh,
But I
it's
said good
same afternoon.
afternoon, and then I looked outside and I saw how dark it was, and I was like, maybe this is evening.
Okay.
Maybe we need to go with that instead. So,
What did they do? They go shift back
yeah, fall
and
back.
fall back.
Yeah,
Okay, so let's fall back.
fall, fall back, spring.
Oh yeah, fall
Yeah.
back. Okay. So anyway, we're taking the journey together. For those for the first time who are coming to us, make sure you share to your friends, share to your enemies,
And
share it to your
especially your
what?
lovers.
Exactly. Well, and your
Who are
friends
your
too.
friends?
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, exactly. And those that who are having some
Yeah.
times in the relationship, or those they know who are having some hard times in the relationship, who are basically going through what we call excuse me, a
Surviving.
surviving relationship.
Yes.
Please, get them on the line. Let
Hmm.
them in turn come to this one, especially today, because we're going to be talking about what is a very important glue in this relationship called taking the journey called closeness. This is
Yes.
part two of closeness, a very
Closeness.
important element when it comes to
It
taking the
is. It
journey together
is.
or a thriving, healthy relationship.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So, you want to tell us a little bit about what
Who are
this?
you?
What I'm Gru.
No, I keep telling
I'm
you, you're
R.
not Groot.
I'm R. Craig's. Most of us know me. Most people out there know me as Craig. Those who are special and are real close friends, they call me I'm R. Excuse me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm Sharon or Zare. Most people know me as Sharon, and
Mm-hmm.
very few know the new me who is Zare.
Okay. Okay.
Yes. But
Well,
that's okay.
why
We'll
don't
get
you
to
tell
know
us
me.
a little bit, Zare, about what the mission of taking the journey together is all about?
We start off by understanding that we are going to relate.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what our mother, father, or anybody says,
Mm-hmm.
we're going to relate. But taking the journey together is based on the principle of relating in a balanced way. And by balanced, what we mean is taking a relationship and starting it off as a friendship with that boundary, that
Mm-hmm.
foundation of friendship, and building it so that you don't have to take a choice of, do I marry my friend or do I marry my lover? Because you have that relationship with your friend that is built into a lovership. And so when the time comes for the marriage commitment, it is, or the whatever, however you want that commitment to be, it is with your lover and your friend,
Mm.
one and the same.
Or you're building to have it move that direction. I'll
Yes.
probably another word is cultivating it or nurturing it. Even
Yes.
though we had talked about this before, that it could be like a remodeling the house,
Yes, we did.
and
We
has
did.
those different elements of remodeling the house. So maybe you're trying to remodel your relationship
Right.
so that in turn it's more open, more expanded,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel like in our element we're talking about today, you feel more close in the relationship.
Yes.
And I think the relationships today, especially with and we just got through going through a how can I say, a lot of politically voting events that
Yeah.
just went on.
Which truly can um be a wedge in
Or
relationships.
already has
You
been
know,
people
you
having
know.
different,
Yeah.
convictions,
Political
political
convictions,
convictions.
uh-huh.
And this old saying is there's no permanent friends, there's no permanent enemies, there's permanent what they call interest.
Issues.
But
Yeah.
one thing is for sure, the way things have been going and in the voting world the last couple of years, your voting issues or interests are attached many times to, is this going to be a friend of mine or not? Is this
Exactly.
going to be a wife I'm going to stay in a relationship, a girlfriend going to stay in a relationship, or a husband going to stay in a relationship, or a boyfriend going to stay in a relationship or
Or
not?
not.
Because we hear families are breaking up and not
Mm-hmm.
talking to each
Oh
other
yes.
over the political issues and
Mm-hmm.
concerns that are out there. So it's very serious. Some people look at it as being the very in moral or
Yes.
integrity foundation of this country is
Yes.
really at hand when it comes to their politic. And so voting is just very important that we get behind to do it.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh, that's okay.
Hmm.
And especially when some people in the relationship, one person may say, okay, I voted, I'm done. Let's just wait and see what happens. And what
Hmm.
happens, happens. I did the one part and all that I could.
Hmm.
When the partner in that relationship could be all in. You
Mm-hmm.
know, it's like, okay, worrying about what's going to happen, worrying
Mm-hmm.
about how the
Mm-hmm.
outcome is going to be, you
Mm-hmm.
know, pacing and watching the polls come, the
Mm-hmm.
results come
Mm-hmm.
in, and just really taking it extremely personal, where they have that disconnect
Yeah.
in the way they look at it. That could be a problem too.
Well, that would be a problem because
Hmm.
you're not really on the same page, and
Right.
that's out of balance. We're talking about balanced relationships
Hmm.
anyway, so that would definitely be
Yeah.
could be an ongoing problem in the relationship.
Unless they have already found a way to work that out.
Exactly. Yeah, we work it out by punching bags. Boom, boom, boom.
Or saying, I know you're going to take this all personal and stuff.
Hmm.
I'm not taking it that personal. So you go ahead and we'll reconnect after all the polls have reported. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So we're going to talk about closeness part two. That's where we're at right now. Closeness part two. What a way to continue. Before we talked about closeness as being another word for intimacy. I
Hmm.
mean, a lot of times we use intimacy. We don't know that intimacy can be swapped out easily for what it really is in a simple root. Getting it where the goats can get it or eat it is closeness. That's
Yes.
really what it is
Yeah.
closeness. And it is that very glue or that very element or that energy that puts a friendship together. A real
Hmm.
friendship
Yes.
is definitely based on closeness.
Yes.
We are really close, and we used, of course, the technique, or I don't know if you want a technique, but anyway, we'll call it too the strategy or the technique of hot. And what is hot?
Hot, HOT,
Mm-hmm. Closer.
is honest, open, and transparent.
Exactly.
Honest, open, and transparent.
Exactly. So you use hot principles
Hmm.
to bring that closeness. Again, we are selling those buttons for $5. And we love to have you, we'll ship it to you free too. We'd love to have you take a look at it and grab it. And you don't have to be scared. You can use it as a way to start a conversation.
Yes.
And you can use it as a way of letting others know, especially in your relationship, this is what I feel, this is what
Hmm.
I can do, this is what I want to be able to do in my relationship. So
Or
that's
reminding each other that this is the goal.
yeah, yeah.
This is
I,
this
I
is the
think next
foundation.
year we're going to go ahead and create a T-shirt with hot, but
Yes.
have a picture or something on it to represent in the relationship what hot is, because it's
Hmm.
such an important thing to use that principle in your relationship. When you think so,
I agree. I
we
think
try to
that's.
use it the best that we can. I know
Hmm.
that being hot has, there's no doubt about it. It is under the guys are in the family, on the room, or relative, if you may want to say, are being authentic. People are
Yes.
authentic usually are pretty open, honest, and
And
transparent
transparent.
from that particular. It may
Hmm.
not be as comfortable as you're like. They may not, in this case, um, be so much concerned about their image in this
Yes.
particular case, but their integrity with who they are, if you may want to say, the character with who they are.
Right.
They're
Right.
very open about that particular that way of being authentic. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So we're
Yeah.
talking about again, we're talking about today closeness, getting back on track on closeness, letting people and those who are listening to it, the 12 types of closeness. Again, this information you may not get it all. It may not be something you understand now. It's something that you have to catch from that end. Hopefully, you catch some of it
Hmm.
today. If not, put it in a deep freezer, and then
And
what?
come back and get it later.
You may one day want to pick it up again. Now we talked about first time closeness in the area of what?
Sexuality,
Yes,
emotional,
yes,
and intellectual.
yes. We did. Go. Let's
Yes.
go over real quickly those three before we move on.
Well, sexual intimacy or closeness is kind of
Yeah,
self-explanatory.
that's what's usually
Yeah.
talked about the most, pushed the
And
most.
experienced the
Exactly.
most.
Cause the most problems because that's the most thing that's leaned
Yeah.
on in a
Yeah.
relationship. It's a long term relationship. Is that, I mean, I'm on Facebook all the time and on Twitter and on Instagram. I'm looking at all of these and a couple of relationship pages just to keep in tune with what
Hmm.
relationships we're doing. And the most thing that's being pushed in the forefront when it comes to closeness on the ops side, ops side, or
Hmm.
the image side, is mostly a sexual image.
Body parts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. Body image is about the only thing that's being pushed
Yeah.
from that. And it's kind of like, since I can't really see inside you, know who you are as a character whatsoever, I'm going to push the body portion out
Yeah.
first, and then from there, whatever you like, whatever you're turned on to, whatever you're connected to, then I'll make that next step, or maybe trying to relate to you. You find that a lot of times that many of the women are talking about, I don't like it because the guy comes back and he only talks to me from a sexual point of view.
But
And
that's all you've given him to work with.
exactly, he'll send me back a D pic. He ain't said nothing to me, but just send that back. I'm going, what? And but like you said,
But that's all you've given.
exactly. Most of the time,
Yeah.
the women that I've saw who say that are the ones that are showing a whole bunch of other body pics
Yeah.
right up front from that
Yeah.
end. So
Yes.
kind of like,
Um,
wow,
you
yeah,
know, the I I don't know. I would the problem is older females are doing it
yeah,
and younger females are following in their
yeah,
footsteps, or
yeah.
is it vice versa?
It is vice versa. The younger ones are still pushing it. You see
Yes.
through entertainment,
Yeah.
as you know,
And then
still's the same. That the younger person is usually the one that's up front, and is the one that usually shows the body, as they
mhm.
say. And older people are feeling, the older women feeling what to keep up with that, to be able to still attract, the
Yes.
opposite male species.
And instead
Then I got
of
to do the same thing.
rising above it and being the example of,
Hmm.
you don't have to put yourself out there like that.
Well, I mean, it's a numbers game that is usually played. Ain't too many that many men out. Mostly in prison. Most of them are dead. Most of them are not, employable, especially in the African American community. So therefore, I got to get what I can take, or take what I can get. One of the two.
All right. Okay.
And then we're all about trying to at least present a alternative,
Mm-hmm.
a way that if you already are in a relationship, that you can at least try to
Yeah.
remodel, rebuild, or expand your relationship so it can be more of a balanced
Yeah.
relationship. And even if you're in a survival portion,
Which I think that would be.
yeah,
Those
exactly.
relationships are based on survival.
Yeah, exactly. And exactly, bring it to the next level. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we're referring to.
Yeah.
But if you are trying to get in a relationship, there's no doubt about it. You could take some of these principles, like the principle we're talking about, we're close. It can help you out as being a precursor or a tool that you can effectively use to, in turn, check and see if this person really wants to be close, or can you be
Mm-hmm.
close to them, vice
Yeah.
versa. And you know that the sexual closeness is a usual one that is used. So you can say to
Yeah.
yourself, "No, let me not do that. I don't want to just run that particular route."
Right.
Many people will use that as being infatuation, which has
Mm-hmm.
been from the past, not the best way to do it in the long run.
Yeah. Because
Um,
infatuation quite often is one-sided.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it can be one
Yeah.
sided, all right. Yeah, from
Yeah.
that end.
So,
And that's not good when it comes to a long-term
no.
relationship, especially if you're trying to express a balanced relationship in all of who you are as a person, as
Mm-hmm.
a being that has a right to express and even speak truth to power in this world. The sexual intimacy or the sexual closeness can't be the only one. There's
Right.
more to you than just that anyway in the first place.
Exactly.
So we talk about the emotional intimacy. Give a little bit more about the emotional intimacy.
You just kind of, you're on the same page. You
Hmm.
you you feel each other.
Hmm.
You're on the same wavelength. It's um what is it? We're
Vibe.
vibing. I was, yes.
Sis, what's wrong with you now? It's
No,
called
because
vibe.
oh yeah,
You were back in that day too. Come
I
on now.
know.
You feel
It
the vibe.
yes, yes,
Okay. You
vibe.
didn't come from no middle class neighborhood where you were so rich. You forgot that word?
Forgot.
Yeah, you
No.
look like you were searching your head for it. Where'd it go?
No, there was something else.
Oh, what
I
was it?
was
What?
I was
What are you
gonna
gonna
say
say?
vibe for the last one,
Oh, okay.
because
Okay.
that was, that's the one that everybody get, but I was gonna bring it together
Oh, okay.
with that one. And
Okay.
the one that I was searching for, it's gone now because
Mhm.
well, we're vibing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, you hear all the time. At least, I heard all the time. I can talk as much as on the phone. I can text as much as the phone. And of course, they now doing the visual thing on the phone,
FaceTime.
FaceTime on the
Yeah.
phone. But yet, you don't really get that. connectivity, if you may want to say,
Mhm.
unless we see face to face and we can see if we can vibe with one another. I don't know
Yeah.
if young folks even use the word vibe, but that still has not changed. That when you see somebody face
Right.
to face, I
Right.
remember I was talking to a lady for a long time. She was good looking too, no doubt about it. Look side, okay.
Mhm.
And we had a lot of good conversations that were beyond just the sexual closeness. I mean, there's some emotional closeness and some intellectual closeness. I thought, wow, this is really vibing. I can really, connect with this. And I remember when I flew to go see her and talked to her on the phone. When come, I'm in the airport. I'm gonna meet you with a place. I'm all excited about it. She's all excited about it. And the minute I got out of the car, I turned a corner, I can't remember, and she turned a corner, and we looked at each other eye to eye. Boom! The boom was, I ain't feeling this. Her look at me was, I ain't feeling you too. I'm like, oh wow. The minute I felt from her that she wasn't feeling me, that was the minute I said, man, I ain't feeling her either.
Wow.
And it kind of went downhill, me trying to make it happen, and she was like, nah, I ain't feeling this. From that end. So that face-to-face thing does that importance, because that's part of that energy, that
Mhm.
aura that you have
Yes.
as a
Yes.
being anyway. And in turn, that's where you get to be at least close enough to the fullness of that person is. And so it's important to do that face to face. Some people might say it's old school, but it's still very real.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I have never been in a situation where I have been able to connect with someone that I could not see, or, have a one-on-one conversation like we're having now. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if I would be able to get into a close relationship with somebody through texting. That's just odd to me.
Well, you
But I
spend a
am
lot of
old
time over the
school.
phone
Well,
with
yeah.
between you and me. We did for
Yeah.
quite a
Yeah,
while,
but
but we
that
did
was
see each other. I
but
mean,
we
we
had
did.
already made that
Yeah,
connection.
that's true.
We had
That's
already
true.
made that
Yeah, we did.
connection,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
we did. We did
Yeah.
make that connection.
And so that's a different. Well, then the other one is the intellectual
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
intimacy.
Mm-hmm.
And intellectual
It's
intimacy,
kind of what we're doing right now.
yes, a meeting of the minds.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
Yeah.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yep, yep.
Yes.
Whether it's book ideas or relationship
Mhm.
ideas that we're both talking about in the
Yes.
area of taking the journey
Yeah.
together, and all the elements like hot as
Mhm.
example, now
Yes.
closeness. That's part of that
Yes.
intellectual and
Even
closeness that we
even
have
even
and think
even
about.
playing political ideas and strategies and
Mm-hmm,
thoughts and things like that against, off of one another.
mm-hmm,
Um, having those kinds of conversations, that's intellectual. Talking about studies and things of that sort.
mm-hmm.
All of that are things that bring you closer.
Exactly, exactly. Well, they should. That is, they should.
Yes.
And if you don't, and you haven't, and you feel like someone else is not in tune with that, then you're going to have somewhat of a problem in the relationship, because these 12 types of closeness are all elements that you as a person actually express yourself in different areas of life,
Mhm.
whether you pay attention to it or not, or this is the first time it's consciously came to your mind, so it becomes an overstanding to you instead of somewhat of an understanding. But there is these types that we're talking about. You're going to express one way in your life, and not, you definitely want to create it in your relationship to bring that closeness, to bring that balance in your relationship. In the intellectual portion, which is important, whether it's about religion, spoken word, social concerns, don't leave it out. Don't leave it
Right.
out
Right.
from that particular. It might be an intellectual conversation you have about the stats of football, basketball.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I started to date a lady who changed that role model thing, that women are not supposed to be too much involved with sports. And boom, she started to throw stats at me
Yeah. Yeah.
when it comes to sports. By the way, I'm going to say to Jamal, I'm going to say to Julius and the others that basically have that sports show that they're doing. I dare you guys to bring a lady in there, or some ladies in there, because you're going to find there's some ladies who are very, very involved with stats when it comes to football or basketball, and they know it well, outside of the fact that you see on on either professional, or you
Mhm.
see it on the college level.
Yeah.
You got women who are, already interviewing and talking about stats. So it's not just a male thing.
Yeah.
So again,
And
going back to my story, they just surprised me. They knew some stats I didn't even know
yeah. And
about certain players.
the surprising thing is that is how you connect with
Mm-hmm.
people also. Because I used to watch football and basketball a lot. My
Mm-hmm.
daughter was really into basketball. We talked basketball all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
used to watch basketball with my mother, you know,
Mm-hmm.
way back when we used to watch UCLA basketball all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And um when I was teaching
Mm-hmm.
seventh graders, they were really not that into things too much. But then if they're talking about football or something and I would click with them and pop in on something about
Mm-hmm.
it that they wouldn't expect me to know,
Mm-hmm.
I had them
Mm.
because all of a sudden they have a teacher who can talk to them on things that they're interested in,
Exactly. Exactly.
and it came in handy. It came in handy a lot of times.
What a way to build more closeness in your relationship in the area that in turn your mate is interested in, and
Mhm.
you show that same interest. That's going to
Yeah,
definitely bring closeness between you two.
exactly.
And we're talking about now in the intellectual closeness area. Again, we
Mhm.
don't call it intimacy anymore. We call it, throw that intimacy out.
It's
It's going to be the word that
closeness.
it should be. Intimacy is like the face, but
Yes.
the actual root to it, the body, the
Mhm.
structure to it, is called
Yes.
closeness itself. So yeah,
Yes.
so you got to think about that when it comes to your intellectual side. Hey, maybe you got social concerns. We see a lot of relationships in the social concerns between couples. A lot. Think about Martin Luther King and his wife, even though he was mostly the forefront. But you know that there was a relationship,
Mhm.
and they discussed a lot the social concerns
Right.
in life. So that's every one of those are important kind of closeness in
Yes.
life that you should have in a long-term relationship, or to have a healthy balanced relationship.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that closeness, as you were just talking about them, within the family structure,
Mm-hmm.
the parents, their closeness is kind of behind closed doors. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm not talking about the sexual closeness.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about the closeness period.
Yes.
Um, you don't understand or see
Mm-hmm.
what closeness looks like to them.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
You exactly. You don't necessarily show it. The
Mhm.
old school didn't do that a lot. They didn't show
Right.
close, peck in the cheek, and little hug once in a while. But
Mhm.
anything close to that, they didn't know.
Yeah.
It was mostly assumed. I guess they're close. They
Mhm.
come home every day. They go to that room over there called a bedroom, but you
Or
don't really know that.
it's not even considered, are
Hmm.
they close?
Oh, okay. What do you
It's
mean by that?
um because a lot of times because it wasn't shown, it wasn't thought of
Mm-hmm.
outside of them, and so it's just like they're married, so they just married. It's my mom and dad, so they're just mom and dad.
So there's
You don't take it any
there
deeper.
there's assumption and taking it for granted that it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Wow, that's kind of scary because sometimes you hear about the violence, the abuse, and that which in more happens. And many times you've heard stories of, I didn't know they were like that.
Mhm.
I didn't know they felt that about one another.
Yeah,
This just came out of nowhere. I
yeah.
didn't think the couples had any problems whatsoever, either
Mhm.
from the family members or the kids or the neighbors. I mean, we kind of seeing wow, some murder suicides a lot up in Hinesville we're at right now between young black couples.
Mhm.
That has been kind of squelched and quiet
Yeah.
about, where the male, for reasons we don't even know, and the relatives don't even know, and the neighbors don't even know, went and shot his wife and then turned around, or their wives, and then turned around and shot themselves. That happened
Yeah.
a couple of months ago.
Yeah.
So, there's no doubt about it. There was a closeness problem. You can't be
Yes.
that real close to each other and then in turn, act in that kind of violent way.
Or
No.
unless something snaps
Yeah.
that is, you know, outside the realm of normalcy.
No doubt, but it has
Yeah.
everything to do with, there's a lack of closeness.
Yeah.
There's just no
Yeah.
doubt about it. There's a lack of
Yes.
closeness that's involved with it. So
Yes.
yeah. Well, what's another one? I was going to give us a couple of more conversations before we go to our commercial break.
Well,
I wish we had
that's
some people who are listening. We I don't got anybody up there that I see. If someone is listening, we missed our
Well, there's a
usual guest.
comment. What was the comment?
No, that's the
Oh,
usual one I
oh,
told you about that
that's
comes up there.
oh, okay.
See, that's a usual one. I'm
I
missing
got you.
some of the people that used to come up all the time. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know if we're talking over their head or if
Or
it's
under
something
their
under their head, one of the two. We hope not. Hopefully, we're giving you good information and knowledge that you need to uplift you, and hoping at the same time that you catch it. And we're all trying to practice
Yeah.
this in our own basic way from that. And I think that's very important. Oh,
Maybe
I,
maybe they will catch us on the repeat.
Exactly. Maybe catch
Yes.
it. Our engineer is not around. Someone popped in. I don't know who it is who popped in, but I'll leave it up to the engineer. I guess Julius, our engineer, may
Yeah.
want to pop this person in. I don't know
Or
who it is.
or we just kind of roll with and see what happens.
Okay, you want to see what happens?
Yeah.
Who
Or
this person is?
we're at no, we're at the point
Commercial
where we
break.
can go ahead and do
Well,
the
we're asked the
commercial break
person is doing that just popped in the background. What do you call this background? What's it called here? The
backstage.
backstage. I'm just kind of give us a
Who are
private
you?
chat of who you are and why you popped in, and then we can kind of go from there. Otherwise, we're real quickly are going to go to a commercial.
Commercial.
So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Wow, there's our commercials. Got a new one that
Yes.
started first, and the second one Sharon you just seem to love.
I do. It's something about that music that it grabs me every time.
Oh
So
wow.
yeah,
Okay, it's pretty cool.
it
Hopefully, you guys
is.
will sponsor or patronize
Support.
our support our sponsors as they're
Yes.
supporting this great channel. It's a venturous channel. It's a unique channel.
Hmm.
It's ahead of its time. There's just no doubt about it. In the next couple of years, this is how we're going to communicate in the world to our tribes, to our
Yes.
community. The old way over the air, coming in through the boob tube, as we used to call it, it's going
It's not
away.
boob anymore.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. It's going to
Got
be all over
too
phone
much options.
and having your phones. You're going to have the opportunity to be able to see a show or put a show on any place in
Hmm.
the world, not
Yeah.
just your own community in the world. And you got to think much more broader, much more open about it, and getting your message out to all folks, all people. And
Right.
not everybody's going to like it, not everybody's going to listen to it, but you can, at least imagine to know on the other side who's watching and listen to it. Could be someplace in Africa, could be in Asia, could be someplace maybe
North
in
Pole.
North Pole, or deep, deep down south in the bios. But anywhere it goes, you're speaking to them, and so You want to be authentic. You want to be open, and want to give them something. Hopefully, they can take away
Yeah.
for their own selves.
When I said that, it reminded me of the other day when I was reading with the two little girls,
Mm-hmm.
um, and we were doing pictures and things, and we came across penguins.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "Where do you find penguins?" And one of them said, "All the way up there." I said, "The North Pole?" She says, "Yeah, with Santa."
Ain't no such thing, Santa.
Shh.
Anyway,
Shh.
ain't no shoe about it. I never did believe that since I was young. So
Okay,
that
but
end,
you had a different situation.
I just didn't. But anyway, I
Yeah,
understand that. Some people don't.
yeah,
Some religions don't have belief system
yeah.
on Sunday, and that's
Oh, I
okay.
know,
I
I
mean,
know.
really, they don't. From that
I,
end.
I, I, I'm not knocking that.
Okay. Anyway,
Some,
back to your
some
story. I'm sorry.
lifestyles and households don't have
Exactly.
it,
And
and
some
that's
countries
okay.
just don't have that belief system.
Right.
That's why I said we speak to the
Exactly.
world from that. But
Exactly.
anyway, we'll go back to your story.
Yeah. And when she said where Santa is or something
Mm-hmm.
like that, it was like I had to rally, pull myself back in
Mm-hmm.
because it's like, yes, I'm talking to a 5-year-old. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but that uh, that was a fun thing.
It was. It
I
was.
love that. Now that was some creative closeness.
That was something you were creating closeness for them,
Yes,
no doubt about it.
yes.
So when is the next time you're going to read a book to me? A bedtime book.
I'll read you a bedtime story tonight.
I hope it's a good one.
It'll be a real good
Ooh,
one.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
Is it going to put me to sleep?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
Eventually, maybe.
Oh, okay. Ooh, I
Uh-huh.
can't wait.
Yes.
See, look how we just go bad. Looks like is it sexual closeness? I thought we're not supposed to make that number one. Why? Is I get the sense that that's what you're trying to talk, because I know I'm not.
I did not.
I may have been
I,
talking about the book from Dr. Zeus. The one that has to do with,
you know,
will you eat green eggs and
you know,
ham?
you
Will
know.
you eat them with me, Sam? I am. Will you eat them in the house? Will you eat them in the boat? Will you eat them in my car that looks like it goes up with a float with hydraulics on it? I mean, will you eat them anywhere? Will you
Okay,
eat them?
you lost the
Okay, what?
rhyme,
I
Dr.
do.
Seuss.
Oh well, I did the best I could, so
Yeah,
that's why you got to read the book.
I'll read the book to you.
Okay, cool,
That's
cool.
why I say you may not go to sleep right away
Oh, okay.
because it'll put so many creative
It's creative
ideas
thing.
in your head. See, you went down the wrong road.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, you kind of took a detour. It's
Detail.
like, fork in the road. Which one will
Nah,
you take?
I was taking my ride in my car,
Uh-huh.
leaning.
Yeah.
No, okay.
Yes.
So we were talking about, we were doing some creativity right now. This leads right to our next one.
Yes.
Creative.
Intimacy.
No, closeness. See,
Closeness. Ah,
see,
you
you
got me.
gotcha.
Create. And I said closeness the
I
first
know it.
time.
I know it.
Yes.
So creative closeness. Now we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about creative closeness.
Yes.
What kind of creative closeness? And we're talking about sharing and acts of creating together. What's
Yes.
one of your special kind of thought, special kind of memory that has to do with the creative closeness that has to do with you and me?
Well, we have a
It's a
lot
deep
of them.
subject.
We have a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
But the one that is always nearest and dearest to my heart
Mm-hmm.
is when we created, I think this was the first major thing we created together,
Mm-hmm.
which was um, the play that we worked on,
Mm-hmm.
where you started it by pulling out music and just saying,
Well,
you had this.
I based it off of what I feel that in
Hmm.
relationships that we go through seasons
Yes.
in our relationships, and then I scored music to actually express the environment
Yeah.
of each one of those seasons in our life. Yeah.
Yeah. But it didn't even get to that until
Mm-hmm.
much later,
Mm-hmm.
because
No,
it
that's what he started that way.
because it started off. One day we were listening to music, and
Mm-hmm.
you kept playing different music,
Mm-hmm.
and I was sitting there with you, and we were enjoying the music, and then it kind of built into
Mm-hmm.
um you started putting together like a score,
Mm-hmm.
and this thing, I think it went on for like months, and
Yeah.
we were just pulling different music and listening to different music, and then it was like this music, once we got all this music together
Mm-hmm.
and we had formulated
Mm-hmm.
the idea, and you had this vision.
Hold for a second. The taking the journey idea of relationship through observation has always been based on, from what I've saw and took a look and studied, that
Hmm.
we all as human beings go through what they call cycles in life,
Yes.
which is what I look at as being what seasons in life.
Yes.
So there's just no doubt about it that if we individually go through seasons or cycles in life, there's no doubt about it in relationships together, we
Mhm.
would also do the same thing.
Yes.
So it was based on what I just got through seeing.
Right.
And then I wanted to, from there through the seasons in life or the cycles in life, attach it as it should be to a human being and say, this is how we also relate in our relationships, either by ourselves or with others in our life, and
Mhm.
preferably others when it comes to
Yeah.
relationship. And from there, then there came the ideas that you're talking about when you came in. When I said, well, why don't I use music? Because I'm an audio engineer. I love
Mhm.
music, been having music for a long time, been part of life. I said, why don't I add music to be the expression to these seasons involved with a
Right.
relationship? And then I thought about, the rest of it when we begin to talk about trying to put, I guess you'll talk about later about the dancers and all that stuff
Mhm.
behind it. Yeah.
Yeah. Because you had in your mind the whole uh idea of a musical piece where
Mm-hmm.
um it was sort of like you had seen the Alex Ailey dancers, and you had been really influenced by their movements and the way they did things and the way they put things together, and all of that. And so from there, that
Hey, how you doing, Kelly? Good to see you back, Mike. Good to see you back. Haven't seen you for a while. Yes.
and so um that whole idea of that movement and
Mm-hmm.
everything, and how it would go along with the music, and we even talked about what would be going on.
Because you started to vibe with it.
Oh gosh,
That was
yes.
one of the things that I was
Hmm.
trying to get at. You started to vibe with it,
Yes,
and music sets the
definitely.
atmosphere in music.
Hmm. Yeah.
Excuse me, in plays,
Yes,
in
in life
musical,
too.
and in movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sets that atmosphere, and that's when you started vibing with it.
Hmm.
And of course, from there, because of the fact that you are a writer and you do books built
Yeah,
on
but
what
but but see, that
characters.
that happened later,
Mm-hmm.
as we were talking
Mm-hmm.
about the how the dancers would move and what they would represent, what the
Mm-hmm.
song would represent, and how
Mm-hmm.
that would go. And then we started thinking about um staging it,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and it was still just a musical,
Yeah.
and then when and we could see it, we could see the dances, we could see how the
Mm-hmm.
music fit together,
Mm-hmm.
and we were definitely on the same page with it,
Mm-hmm.
to the extent that when we let a couple of people look at it
Mm-hmm.
or listen to it, and gave them what we understood from it,
Mm-hmm.
or what we saw it being,
Mm-hmm.
and two of them came back saying that
You needed
it
some.
needed script
Exactly. Well, that was that lady that does
plays.
plays in
Mhm.
Colorado. When we sent
Yes.
to her, and
Mhm.
she said she needs a script, and so then that's where it comes in. I naturally just kind of felt and understood that
Excuse me.
your character creative side of the last books that you make on the romantic
Mhm.
side, especially, meant it was just for you and the connection to the purpose of
Excuse
our
me.
connection together, relationship, for you to do the lyrics, and you did such a good job of the lyrics and
Skip
connection
script.
to the script when it came to the different characters.
Mhm.
And we had
Yeah.
to create a couple of characters, or at least one of the characters would be the boyfriend, and we call it a conscious play
Yes.
at that. And so on that particular note, we've been trying to get people to work with us. Some of them came being producers, being choreographers, those who will put together
Mhm.
the background.
Yes.
We've been having people come
Set
in our life,
designers and
exactly
all
in our
that.
life, but
Mhm.
we're still looking for someone to maybe want to help us with this conscious play, which is called
Seasons of
season.
love.
We would exactly. We'd love to have someone help us out to make this actually become a manifestation as real. I know we've showed it twice with people, and people actually have
Actually,
loved
more
it.
than that,
Oh, you're right. They've
because
actually
we've
loved
had
it.
some private showings also. Some
Exactly.
some actually run throughs.
Exactly. They've
Mhm.
actually loved it. So we'd love to be able to have that as a real representation of what the taking the journey is all about,
Yes.
but actually
Yeah.
have it as a play. Someone's supposed to be trying to help us out to make it as a full blown
Mhm.
motion picture
Yeah.
or series too at the
Yes,
same
because
time.
he first talked about turning it into um, a movie, for a film,
Mm-hmm.
a film, so that it would be, and taking it to an indie film festival, and shopping it around there. And then he was like, you know what, it's good enough that we can even maybe make it a bigger movie, and maybe even um, turn it into a series.
Yeah, again,
And
anybody
we're like,
anybody
okay,
out there that would love to help us, want to become the producer to push behind us, who know anybody who would like to do a producing for a unique a movie on relationship, as we call
have a venue.
exactly a venue at the same time. We call it conscious play. It's based on our principles when it comes to taking the journey together.
Yes.
So you got to make sure you have that in mind. But if you know of anybody, or you may be that somebody, please get a hold of us. We'd love to be able to sit down and talk with you about it to make this thing happen and become a real reality.
Yes.
And everybody can see it. And again, we're
You
talking
can.
about the creative closeness. Give them an email address before you.
It's right there.
Wow, where is it at? Where do I go? Down, down,
Down.
down, down, right here.
Yep.
Oh, there it
There it
is.
is.
There's the email address. Thank you.
TTJT at takingthejourney
Hmm.
together.com. TTJT at the journey together.com. And let us know, you can help us, or what kind of ideas you have.
Hmm.
If you want to,
We already have it storyboarded, so you can see the whole storyboard with the
mhm.
characters and the music, all put together from that
And
end.
the idea of how it would roll,
Exactly.
and what's the whole concept. It's a concept board.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I think it'd be something that would be very moving and teachable moments, and romantic too at the same time.
Right.
Something that we need to see more in
Yeah.
movies anyway. From that end, there's no
Mhm.
slash, no goriness,
No.
no real strong sexual
No.
scenes, not religious too, whatsoever. But it's more what we call again a conscious
It's
play. Yeah.
it's not Tyler Perry.
I wouldn't get on him so much. Some of the plays that some of the shows
I'm
he
just
has been conscious in his own way.
I
There's a
no
couple that you
I
watched with me from that
yeah,
end.
I
We
know.
love to know someone
Yeah.
Tyler Perry. We'd love
Yeah.
to work with them
But
on making it happen. No doubt about it. Yeah,
yeah, I'm just saying it doesn't go along
that
that
vein, as you may want to say.
exactly.
Okay.
It's different from that. But
Okay.
but when it comes to creative intimacy, that's one that uh, uh, an example of creative intimacy that we
Hmm.
experienced that was really exciting. It still brings fond memories, and I still see it, like it was yesterday, which it wasn't.
Exactly.
But one day I think I'm gonna have to write that up, that whole process and what that was, and turn it into a story of its own,
That
maybe.
might be good. So creative closeness. Creative
Closeness,
closeness.
closeness.
Oh, we're just so used to
Yes,
intimacy instead of
yes, we are.
calling the simple basic word called
Closeness.
closeness. But creative closeness is not really trying to fix or change someone. Again, it's not really
No,
trying to fix or change someone. No, you're trying to help that person grow in whatever
and
way
grow
that they're
together.
wanting to do, and
Hmm.
do it together. The
Yeah.
tension and intentionally creating a life together where both feel that both of us are both folks, that they can be their best self. Some
Hmm.
people say their
Yeah.
blessed self,
Yes.
and the creation of season. What's that again?
Seasons of love.
That is the best selves of
Right.
us together that we created,
Hmm.
and have created. So that's very important in your relationships,
Yeah.
that you in a thriving healthy relationship, that you want to move
Yeah.
to, and the types of closeness that we're talking about.
Hmm.
Creative closeness.
And
Yeah.
and if you've never done anything like that before, you can start off with something simple, like
Mm-hmm.
decorating the living room together,
Mm-hmm.
or decorating the bedroom together, going out and shopping for things and deciding, oh, together, would this look good in there, and how to, the theme that you want and all of that, or plant a garden together,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
Or guys, you might want to get a lady friend, or your excuse me, your significant other, to help you decorate and pimp out your car.
Or
Pimp
work on
out
your car.
your work, or your golf
Golf
cart,
cart.
whatever that is.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe RVing. I mean, you want to RV together, and both of you want to work on your RV. That's a big thing right now,
Yeah.
RVing, and not a lot because of COVID, and you want to work on that together, from that,
Yeah,
and make
that
it
was.
look a place to feel comfortable with together. So again, we're talking about creative
Mhm.
closeness, where you guys are
Yes.
using both of your creative juices and energy to work on something
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Yeah. And so um and that also takes us to something else,
What's that?
aesthetic closeness.
Oh, you're gonna go there. Okay.
I'm going to
What's
go
what's
there
what's aesthetic?
because to me,
Aesthetic.
aesthetic closeness and
Mm-hmm.
creative closeness are connected.
Mm.
Because when you create something, you generally think of it as creating a thing of beauty.
Mm.
And aesthetic closeness is being able to appreciate the beauty that is around you
Mm-hmm.
and appreciate it together. We look at it as sunrises or sunsets or
Mm-hmm.
a walk along the beach or something like that, which is, that you can share. I remember the time when we were coming from South Dakota
Mm-hmm.
when it had snowed us in,
Mm-hmm.
and we left early, early, early in the morning
Mm-hmm.
to try to get ahead of the traffic and, you know, before the roads got real bad and
Mm-hmm.
everything. But that morning, as we were going southeast, the sunrise was so
Oh
beautiful
yeah.
and surreal.
Yeah.
It was just an amazing
it-
experience.
and bringing back that amazing experience, which has to do with what's the word, reminiscing. We're
Yes.
definitely going to talk about reminiscing, another
Yes.
beautiful way of using the Sankofa principle.
Mhm.
But that beauty, because that's when I thought you were going to talk about that. Aesthetic has to do with beauty too.
Yeah, and
So
that's
the
what that
beauty of that
was.
sun. I,
Yes.
I remember that we left for North Dakota where there was almost 20 degree below zero. The snow
It
was
felt like it.
4, 5 or 6 feet high because I was
Yes.
doing some work for the military up there, and they actually drove me from the hotel to the military site where they were weekend warriors, and I was working on computer systems there. And when we left that day, there was snow still up the
It was
sky.
so funny
It was.
because um you left
Mm-hmm.
early in the morning and you said, "Don't worry, don't get up.
Mm-hmm.
They're coming to pick me up."
Mm-hmm.
And we had gotten a room that was on the first floor,
Mm-hmm.
and I peeked out the window and the snow was up halfway the window, and I'm like, "How are
Mm-hmm.
you going anywhere?"
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They had found a way.
Yeah, they did.
They had cleared enough path that they could get there, and I'm like,
Come get me.
I when I glanced out, I'm like, "You can't go anywhere. You can't go to work." And but
Apparently,
you did.
I was that important. They had me go to those weekend warriors and work on their systems that were there because they still made them come
Yeah.
anyway. Had to do whatever
Wow.
they needed to do. But talking about that beautiful sunset when we let
Sunrise.
sunrise when we left, I remember how watching gradually the snow that was high as can be,
Uh-huh.
and when we drove 15, 20, 30, maybe an hour, the snow was getting down
Less
lower
and
and
less.
less and less and less,
Yes.
while the sun still was doing that beautiful half orange, half yellow coming
Kind of
over
bluish.
going over the
Yes. It
horizon
was
until we were
beautiful.
finally 2 or 3 or 4 hours away. And then all of a sudden, there was a transition. That's the word I'm gonna
Uh-huh.
use, where
Yes.
the snow just what?
Wasn't
Disappeared.
there.
It wasn't even there
Wasn't there
anymore.
at
It
all.
was all straight dirt ground. It's like it never even existed.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good that's a good
Yeah.
memory.
That
Good
just kind of
memories.
popped into my head because
Yeah,
that was just really beautiful.
yeah, it
And
was.
so when you share things like that,
Mm-hmm.
it's um those are things that memories and relationships are also made of.
Mm-hmm.
Things that you can share, things that you enjoy together.
Bring that closeness back.
Yes.
So important in the relationship to have closeness, and
Mhm.
that's why we're talking about the 12 types of closeness. And we
Yes.
went over the different closeness. If you missed the first one, go back to number one, part one, and take a look at it. And number
Mhm.
two, as we're talking about, so important that we don't just look at sexual closeness as being the
Yeah, and leave
only
it there.
expression that we
Yeah.
can have a relationship. We as beings and as humans, we have more ways that we can express ourselves, and we
Mhm.
really have expressed ourselves in different ways with different
Right.
people. We just not have looked at that. You have also the opportunity to express yourself in those many ways in that close, intimate relationship that you call and in turn look upon that person as being your friend. You have to say to yourself, why would I not want to express and
Mhm.
in turn have the experience of this closeness with this particular person
Right.
that I say as being my close friend? So
Mhm.
yeah, it's important for us to take advantage of it
Yes.
and look back in our memory. So let me ask you something, since you just brought that up, and my mind was going that direction and my heart was going that direction, and I could actually see it in my own mind and all that came about, and almost could feel it too at the same time.
Yes.
Do you think it's something that we should do when it comes to this closeness time, reminiscing time, because that's what it's called?
Mhm.
Should we do that like every month, every other month, every week? How should you set up, or should you set up, or should it be more spontaneity? What do you think when it comes
I
to that?
I think I think it should be spontaneous,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think it should be something that is contrived to continue to build that closeness, to
Mm-hmm.
ensure that closeness. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it's, we cannot just assume that a thriving relationship is going to happen on its own.
Mm-hmm.
We have
Mm-hmm.
to do things to promote that thriving relationship,
Mm-hmm.
and connect with these. I mean,
Or nurture it's probably a better word. Nurture it.
exactly,
Yeah.
and nurture it. That's a perfect word.
Mm-hmm.
We, because it's, if we don't do anything, it won't happen.
Yeah.
And so I think it's both. Like right now,
If you
it
build
was
it, it will come.
exactly, and I think like
Yeah.
right now it was
Mm-hmm.
spontaneous. But I
Mm-hmm.
also think that at least once a week, you need to bring back to memory that one thing or some one thing
Mm-hmm.
that was special, that may have passed, way back.
Yes.
And the thing of it is, sometimes it's, when you're talking about any other thing, if it triggers, be hot and let it be known.
Mm-hmm.
What this just brought back to memory. Do you remember when?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes you go down that memory lane,
Mm-hmm.
and I love going down memory lane. I haven't done it as much as I would like
No,
to,
even though you can tell
but
by talking to you now, that storytelling part of
mhm,
you, which you're very good at
yeah,
storytelling, is a natural, authentic piece of yours
mhm,
that should be and must be practiced in a balanced relationship.
yes,
So your storytelling can be used with past memories that you did in your relationship. Get close to the mic. Past memories that you did in your relationship, so that you can pull them as
yeah,
being your story, telling that you
exactly.
tell with your mate. But you can also
And I
tell it to your
remember
children
them,
and your grandparents
right?
and to other people, like we're doing right now
Yeah,
on this
yeah.
show. Yeah.
And I remember things in such vivid details, and it's
Hmm.
been a gift of mine all my life,
Yeah, I
and
can tell that.
I love that.
Yeah, well, I love making memories and creating memories with
Yes.
the adventures that I feel in life that you have a right to do.
Mhm.
I always say that that taking the journey that you have, hopefully with someone together, should be adventure. It
Yes.
should be adventure.
Yes.
And that was definitely one adventure.
Oh, it
Oh,
was.
just by you bringing up, that was one adventure. What happened at the National Guard headquarters was there. That's a whole nother story that happened once they got me there, and the snow was still high over the doors, but they built a little path for us to go in from that end.
I had never,
It was a crazy day that day. I
you know,
mean,
I
absolutely
I
crazy.
have gone I have experienced blizzards in Colorado where,
Hmm.
you know, you couldn't even see the car. It was so much snow. It was just like, a one big mound of snow. But I have never seen that kind of snow in my life.
That was
You
a
know,
heck of a snow.
it was, but they reminded me of the way people do it in Colorado. They had
Hmm.
cleared streets
Hmm.
in no time. So like the next day we got out a little bit,
Hmm.
and it was
But that was
unbelievable.
South Dakota. I don't know if
Yes,
you went with me when I went to North Dakota.
I did not.
North Dakota is even colder and it's
Uh-huh.
got way more snow.
And like I say, I did not.
I
And
was up there doing
I'm
some work
I'm
in North
kind of glad
Dakota.
about that. That was
Yeah,
before you knew me.
that was a venture all by itself to go to
Yeah.
North Dakota from that
Yeah.
end. I had a chance to go to Alaska to do some IT work for a little while in Alaska. Make some good money too, but I was like, man, that's too cold for my blood.
Yeah, no.
Way too cold for
But
my blood.
there's a time to go.
Yeah,
I've heard
that
that
wasn't it.
the summers are beautiful, but
Yeah,
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 you
yeah.
got
That's
to
what they
know
say.
when.
They definitely say.
Yes. And I was hoping that we would get a chance to talk about recreational intimacy. Maybe we can just throw that in just a little bit.
Okay, we got about 3 minutes
Yeah.
before we know our. I don't know if he's gonna pan us out this time or
Yeah,
something we have to do. I don't
he's
know.
there.
He is.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So, recreational closeness.
Mm-hmm.
Recreational
Uh huh.
closeness. I
Yep. Yep. Yep.
I
Yep.
caught myself this time because I was wrong the first time.
Mm-hmm.
Recreational closeness is something that we don't do a lot. But when you're growing up,
Mm-hmm.
you build that closeness with family members by playing board games
Yes.
and doing things like that, playing card games. I remember my sister and I used to play Old Maid all the time.
Oh, you guys were old maids.
We were,
Oh,
you
okay.
know, and I mean, this was when we were real little, but we
Mm-hmm.
we had all kinds of board games. We would get them for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Shoots and ladders, and these are little games that you have even before you have to read anything, and
Mm-hmm.
all the way up to Monopoly, which I hated, and Twister and stuff like that. But they are things that build closeness and bring you together. But then we also had hobbies that
Mm-hmm.
that we did, and so those things are all good. They're always good. Like you love to you know how to paint. I need you to paint more. I would love for
Boys
you
Club
to.
days. I won a
Yeah.
couple of contests where some of the pictures I painted in the Boys Club day went to
Yeah.
the boys clubs across the country. But that was such a long time ago.
But you
Um,
still have that talent.
I probably do. I
You
just haven't
do
used it.
because I remember about a year or two ago we were at a restaurant and they put a paper in front
Hmm.
and a pencil or something and you just started sketching this little pot and flower and it was so cute and I still have
Oh,
it.
maybe when I get 80, I might give it a try sitting out there. I don't know. I
But
probably
see,
need to push
that's
that more.
that's the beauty of hobbies. They
Hmm.
give you an opportunity to relax and
Yeah.
move away from those things that bog you down,
Hmm.
and to be able to have a hobby together, um, that we share together, like playing a game
Hmm.
or taking a walk or things of that sort. Those recreational things, taking a drive
Hmm. Hmm.
taking a drive to some place that's very beautiful or whatnot, or a favorite place you like to go. Those hobbies are good things to also bind your relationship.
Well, bring closeness.
Hmm.
Yes. Yes,
Yes.
it is. It is definitely another way of bringing very closeness. Well, we're 7 minutes out. We got to
No, we're
go in.
three
Well,
minutes
yeah,
out.
exactly. We got to
Yeah.
go ahead, call it quits. We could go on and on. Take it with you. Hopefully, you enjoy yourself. Put it in deep freezer if you have to. All I can say to you is get closer and closer in your relationship. If you want a good, balanced relationship, there's nothing wrong with it. And it is to be that way, too, at the same time. God bless. Ashe. Until next time,
Next week.
take the journey together. Enjoy your adventure.
Like this.